You have been sitting in the parking lot for about 10 minutes with the engine off. You have not gotten out of the car. Same cracked asphalt near the fire hydrant. Same security camera tilted slightly the wrong way. You know both of those things because you used to work here. 9 years at Castlemark Precision. They let you go on a Friday afternoon. Not performance. Restructuring, they said. There is a difference, apparently. You ran this plant for the last 3 of those years. 68 people on the floor. You knew most of them by name. The line does about $22 million a year. The owner, a man named Gerald Pryce, is 68 years old and he wants out. His number is $14 million. He said it the way you say a thing you have been saying for years and no longer need to think about. You have $28,000 in savings. Not $28 million. $28,000. You open your banking app in the parking lot like the number might have shifted since this morning. It has not shifted. Most people drive away and don't come back. You pull out the notepad anyway. Force of habit, probably. A guy in a yellow vest comes out the side door and lights a cigarette. He doesn't recognize you. You're not sure if that's a relief or not. You do not have a clean answer for why you came back to this one first. You wish you did. You don't. What you do have is everything you have spent the last month learning about the man who owns it now. What you know about Gerald Pryce before you make a single call would embarrass a private investigator. You spend 5 weeks reading everything. The 10K filings, the county property records, 2 trade publication features from 2018, and a supplier conference transcript from 2021. Here's what nobody outside the plant knows yet. Revenue is down 14% over the last 2 years. The plant's single largest customer, an aerospace subcontractor, has a contract up for renewal in 7 months. And Gerald's 2 adult children want nothing to do with manufacturing. The older one is in Austin doing something in software. Gerald needs to exit. What he needs even more is for it to look like his own decision. That distinction matters to him. You learn the last piece at an industry dinner in the 3rd week. A man named Pete Sorrento, a retired tooling rep who had done business with Castlemark for 20 years, is talking to no one in particular. He says the CNC maintenance contract is 9 months past renewal and the plant is running on a verbal. He says it like it is nothing. You write it down. Information is currency, not a metaphor, a mechanic. You spend the information before you spend anything else. The morning you call Gerald Pryce's office, you dress well. Not flashy, just well. You get there 7 minutes early. The lobby chair is slightly too low for the coffee table. You accept the coffee anyway. Gerald comes out himself. No assistant. He shakes your hand and looks at you the way you used to look at vendors. His office smells like machine oil and old carpet. There's a framed photo of the original floor plan on the wall. He talks for 11 minutes before you say anything at all. Founded in 1991, survived the 2002 slowdown, the 2009 recession, a fire in the back warehouse in 2014. The pride is real, the kind of pride that costs something. You do not steer, you just listen. Then there is a pause, a real one, and you ask exactly one question. What makes you decide now is the right time? He looks at you differently after that. There is a shift, subtle, but it is there. Everyone else walked in with a pitch deck and a cap table slide. You walked in with a question. You genuinely are not sure if it is strategy or if you are just too nervous to perform. Either way, Gerald talks for another 7 minutes. Then, almost offhandedly, like it is not the entire point of the meeting, he names a number. Not 14 million. 11.5, the one that lets him sleep. He has already done the discounting in his own head. He just needs someone to be quiet long enough for him to say it out loud. You tell him you will come back in 10 days. He nods. You write down the date on the notepad on the way out. You drive home and sit in your kitchen for an hour with the lights off. Not doing anything. Just sitting. $11.5 million. You have 28,000. That gap is real. The asset can pay for itself if you structure it right. Not a magic trick, just math. The math only holds if you do the steps in order, and you do not panic between them. The first call you make is not to a bank. It is to a woman named Carla Dennehy. Carla runs a small industrial operations consultancy out of Cincinnati. You have known her for 4 years. You sit across from her at a cafe on a Tuesday morning and you lay out what you are thinking. She listens. Then she says, "That's either very smart or very stupid." You say, "Can you help me figure out which one?" She laughs. Then she opens her laptop. Over the next week, you build a financial model: revenue, EBITDA, debt service, working capital, everything. The model shows the business generating enough free cash to service a leveraged buyout. Not comfortably, but enough. Carla takes 3% equity for her time. You think that is the best money you will ever spend. Now you have something. A working model, that is move 1, move 2. There is an aerospace subcontractor called Venner Systems. They are Castlemark's largest customer. Their contract is up in 7 months. You reach a procurement manager named Tom Wilford through a mutual contact. You get 20 minutes. You keep the whole thing hypothetical. You say you are exploring options and want to understand what continuity looks like for them. Tom asks 2 questions. You answer both. Then he is quiet for a moment. He says Venner Systems would consider locking a 3-year contract at a modest discount for guaranteed capacity and on-time delivery. 2 weeks later, a letter of intent arrives. Venner Systems. 3 years. Right there in black and white. You sit with it for a minute. You are 1 phone call away from humiliating yourself in front of people you actually know. The voice is still there, but now you have a financial model and a letter of intent from an aerospace company. That is a different conversation than you had 2 weeks ago. Move 3. You need capital structure, specifically 70% of the purchase price from a bank. You have a thin relationship at a commercial bank. A loan officer named David Scheck, who did the financing on a piece of equipment at your old job. You walk in with the model, the letter of intent, and Carla's operations summary. You put it all on the table. You tell him you are asking for 70%, not the full amount, $8 million. You say the business secures the loan. You are just the operator who makes it run. David asks questions for 40 minutes. You answer every one. 2 weeks of waiting, honestly borderline unbearable. Then the term sheet arrives. $8 million, secured against the plant assets. Personal guarantee on the deferred tranche. You read it 3 times. Then you call Carla. That is move 3. A term sheet from a bank. The bank already did the hard part of the diligence, which is exactly right. Move 4. You need $3.5 million more in equity. And here is the order that matters. You do not bring partners in before the deal is de-risked. You bring them in after. The bank does the selling for you. There is a man named Roy Stafford, retired mechanical engineer. You know him through a previous employer. His money is sitting in money market funds. You show Roy the model, the term sheet, the letter of intent. You are not selling a vision. You are showing him an existing profitable business. Roy asks slow, careful questions. You try to look more certain than you feel. He comes in for $2 million, 12% equity. The second equity partner you find through an operator community online, a woman named Nina Pearse, former plant manager, now investing her own capital. You walk her through everything by phone. She calls back the next morning. Nina puts in $1.5 million for 9% equity. You now control 76% of a $22 million annual revenue business with $28,000 of your own money. In theory, it is very much still in theory. You have 10 days, you go back on day 10, exactly when you said you would. Keeping that one promise feels like the only thing you actually control. Gerald comes out himself again, same dark suit. He looks like he has not slept entirely well. You sit down and you make the offer. $10.8 million, below the number he gave you. You know that. He knows. You know. $7 million at closing. $3.8 million deferred over 20 months, backed by a personal guarantee and a charge on the plant equipment. You walk him through the structure. He is not just getting a number. He is getting a clean exit, a real timeline, a way to set the whole thing down. You priced his piece, not just his asset. He is quiet, longer than feels comfortable. Then he says, "All right, just that." Like he has been carrying something heavy for a long time and is carefully setting it down on the floor. He signs. You shake his hand. You say something ordinary and appropriate. You genuinely cannot remember what. You walk to your car. Your hands are a little unsteady doing up your seatbelt. You sit there for a few minutes before you start the engine, not thinking, just sitting. People find out about it later and fill in the story with whatever makes the most sense to them. You got lucky. You know somebody. You have money somewhere nobody can see. The alternative is uncomfortable, so they pick the easier story. Information is currency. Structure beats capital. Partners come after the deal, not before. You don't buy what you can't afford. You build the conditions slowly and imperfectly until you can. That's the part that doesn't make a clean story, but it's the